Hey, Mitch.
Oh, hey, Ed. How are you?
Well, where are you? I can't see you.
Wait a second.
Oh,
Oh, here I am.
wha- what happened? How you were just invisible?
Yeah, I know. I found this suit in the desert, Ed, and I put it on. And ever since then, I've been able to do this crazy stuff. You wouldn't believe it.
I don't believe it. You mean like the greatest American hero?
Yeah, something like that. Hey, believe it or not,
Well,
Ed.
you know what? Actually, he can do some really cool things. Can you? Do you have super strength?
No, I don't know how to do that yet. But believe it or not, Ed,
What about? Can
I
you
can.
shoot lasers out your eyes?
No, I can't shoot lasers out of my head. But listen, believe it or not, Ed, I could
No. I've got
simply.
an idea. What about flying? Come on. The greatest
Yeah,
American
that, you
hero
know
can
what?
fly. Yeah.
No, believe it or not, I could do that.
All
Watch
right.
this.
Are you all right, Mitch?
I can see my house from up here.
Hi, this is Ed Dollister.
And this is Mitch Halleck.
And welcome to another exciting episode of Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. If it's your first time here, thanks so much for clicking and joining us. If you're a regular viewer, thank you so much for coming back. Hope you enjoy today's topic. But before we begin, if you want to find out a little bit more about the show or get notified when we have a new episode coming, what can you do, Mitch?
Oh, Ed, it is as simple as putting a red suit on and flying like Superman by pressing the red button. I believe it's red on the bottom of your screen. It says subscribe. You will be notified when Ed and I go on another excellent adventure. Plus, you'll become one of our many subscribers, and we will love you to death. And hit the like button too, because why not?
Absolutely. And don't forget to comment on the show. We've got
We actually answer those things.
We do personally.
Yeah,
it's not a bot. We don't farm that
No.
out to our minions.
No,
It's
and
actually
sometimes we're
us.
sober when we answer them too. But that might just be me.
That's
So
true.
what are we talking about today, Ed? Is
Well,
it gonna be a
we're
comic
heading
book?
to 1981 to the TV landscape of Stephen J. Cannell, who is a legend in the world of television. He's a creator and co-creator of many famous TV shows such as
18,
1821 Jump Street,
Rockford Files.
yeah, Silk
Yeah.
Stalkings, I think as well. Okay, maybe not so famous.
Maybe not the best. Yeah.
But in 1981, he welcomed to the world the greatest American hero. Did you watch this as a youngster?
I did in 1981. There wasn't a lot of superhero shows, not like today when there's about 50 of them on every day. Back then, there was very few. I mean, we just got rid of the Incredible Hulk TV show. So this was cool. And it was a brand new superhero, one that was not based on a pre-existing comic book or cartoon. It was an all new adventure. So yes, I was glued to my set watching the premiere of The Greatest American Hero.
And the cool thing, I think, with the show, the premise was it was an everyday person who managed to get these superpowers, but he didn't know how to use them. And it was a huge hit when it came out in 1981, starring William Catt. I suppose William Catt was best known prior to that from Carrie, the movie, where he was Sissy Spacek's date, and also Butch and Sundance, the early years. Did you ever watch that?
I did see that in the movie theaters actually too, but no, I remember him from a surfing movie.
Oh,
called like The Big Surf Day or something like it was. I think it was filmed in Australia, maybe, or maybe
no,
I'm thinking of something.
No, I was going to say Big Sunday, but it's not. It's I'm going to put it up right now.
Yeah,
But
no, it's a surfer movie, but no, I had seen him in that picture too, and that was a big deal. And I'm gonna go out and say that is he in The Big Red One with Mark Hamill and Lee Marvin? Or is that a different guy I'm thinking of with blonde hair? He's got that all American, blonde hair, blue eyed look. He was in he was in a couple MASH episodes, or at least one that I could think of right away. Then first year, it was a Christmas episode, and he's in a foxhole, and Alan Alda comes down as Hawkeye in a Santa Claus suit. and he looks up. He's like, and you said there was no Santa Claus, and Hawkeye comes down on a ladder to save the soldiers in a foxhole.
That's
In a
right. And
helicopter.
after, obviously, after the series, people might remember him from Baby Secret of the Lost Legend. Do you remember that movie about the
Oh yeah, the
dinosaur?
dinosaur thing. Yeah. I do remember that. Wow, I forgot.
Yeah, with
all
Sean
about that.
Young, and
Yes,
he,
yes,
and he was also in a really good horror movie called House, which had a bit of it was a bit of a funny, a bit of a
Yeah.
comedic horror, which was kind of
yeah.
good.
No,
So
and I believe, if legend says it, he was one of the actors up for the character of Luke Skywalker in Star Wars.
I
believe
I
he
could
was one.
see that actually.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had like groups of people. Like Lucas had 3 actors, and he had like sets, and he would test them all. There was the Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher group, and then there was the Terry Nunn, I think, the singer,
Yes.
and like Christopher Walken or Perry King or somebody else in another group, and then there was another one I think that had William Catt, and then he would just test different groups and see which ones worked better, and that's how they got the people. But I do believe he was up for the part of Luke
Ah.
Scott. Even Freddy Krueger was up for that too. Richard
Robert
Edlund?
England.
Robert England. I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. But the
Anyway, we're back to this show.
let's
here,
go
but-
back to Greatest American Hero. So the premise was, Ralph Hinckley.
Hinckley.
He was originally Ralph Hinckley, but a few months later there was the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. Is that correct?
That was correct. In fact, the shooter, David Hinckley, was coming right down the street here in New Haven, stalking a young Miss Jodie Foster, who was attending Yale University at the time.
Oh.
And he was obsessed with her. And she was in a movie called Taxi Driver
Mhm.
with Robert De Niro years ago. And he was trying to, some weird twisted way, he was acting out the character that De Niro played, where he goes to shoot a presidential figure, a politician, to impress this hooker that was played by Jodie Foster in the movie. So, I mean, the guy had problems to begin with,
Yep.
but sure enough, he goes and he tries to assassinate Ronald Reagan, and he actually severely injured the press secretary, James Brady, in that attempt on the president's life back then. But yeah, because of the name Hinckley, the execs at ABC didn't want to be associated with that, and why would they? So they did change the character's name from Ralph Hinckley for a while to Ralph Hanley.
Yes,
Hanley,
Hanley.
yeah.
So they did some little bit of like a bit of overdubbing, and for the rest of the season, they didn't really mention his name. For subsequent
He goes
series,
back.
he went back to Ralph Hinckley.
Yeah, yeah. That was actually a better name. I don't know why. It just sounds more nerdy,
Yeah,
you know.
and
Yeah,
of course,
just-
he was playing like a special ed teacher. Who would go in. He was a bit like Gabe Kaplan in Welcome Back, Kotter. It was a bit of a mashup of a couple of ideas, I think. So he basically took these bunch of rough kids who actually looked like they were in their 30s at the time. But
well, I think they were, because one of them was Michael Paré,
Paré.
who was from Eddie and the Cruisers, and he
Yeah, so
had to
this
be
was-
older than a high school student.
Oh yeah,
And then the other one was from the show V,
Faye Grant.
Faye Grant, who would
Yeah.
marry Stephen Collins, I think.
That's
Wasn't
right.
that his
That's right.
name? Yeah,
Yeah,
from
I had a
Gold
bit
Monkey.
I had a bit of a crush on Faye Grant. She had.
Who didn't, Ed? Who
That's
didn't?
right.
We all wish we were Mark Singer.
Oh yeah, we have
From
to talk
V.
about V.
We have to
actually.
talk about V one day. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway,
will.
back to this show. And
So
then he was-
basically, he took the
yeah.
group out on a road trip where he accidentally bumps into FBI agent Bill Maxwell, played by Robert Culp, who
yes.
was, a well-known established actor by this stage, best
Mhm.
known for maybe I Spy, I think, and a few
Mhm.
other things. He had a movie career as well as that.
He did. He was one of those guys that was always on TV. He was in a couple Columbos, and he would always pop up on a TV movie or something. He was one of those, I don't know, like almost like a cookie cutter type
Yep.
of guy from the 60s and early 70s. You could put
Yep.
him in any show and he'd be fine for it, but he was a very fun actor, Robert Culp was. Yeah.
Yeah. So by happenstance, they all end up in the desert. There's some problems. Their car breaks down. Robert Culp's car almost knocks down Ralph Hinckley, and then all of a sudden they see these strange lights, and there's homage to Close Encounters with some quite nice special effects for TV at the time, I thought. Bill Maxwell's dead partner gives Ralph Hinckley a box with a suit in it and gives some instructions. He loses the instructions and hilarity ensues as he tries to figure out basically what powers does he have. And he's struggling with his divorce. He's got his divorce lawyer played by
Connie Selica.
She was married to Gil Gerard, wasn't she?
She was, but then she married John Tesh, who was the host of Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment Tonight. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. That's how I knew her, though. But she was like one of those model actresses. You'd see her like on a lot of TV commercials as well.
Yes.
So. No, I was just going to say the makeup on the aliens. Remember, I was just talking about Stephen Collins from Tales of the Gold Monkey. Yep. The makeup on the aliens kind of look like the monkeys suits from Tales of the Gold Monkey. They have these, like, first episode, the pilot, Tales of the Gold Monkey, they have these big man apes that were like guarding the gold monkey statue. But the aliens on Greatest American Hero look like those monkey faces without the hair. And they were like spray painted like a whitish blue. Yep. They had the white uniforms with the insignia on it over there, which is just a pair of scissors. You know that, right?
Yes, that was Stephen J. Cannell's inspiration, a pair of scissors on his desk. And it looked like the handle of it. So,
yeah, but no, that I just always was taken back. The aliens didn't look that's scary or something. But what was the point of them giving him the suit? Was he supposed to be a guardian? Like a kind of a Green Lantern or something?
He was. And if you've watched the pilot episode or the first episode, it's really quite weird because it starts off with this guy in a dune buggy being chased by a bunch of other people in dune buggies, and these people are all in white t-shirts, shaved head, mirrored glasses, and they're these religious types. And then he gets captured, and then it goes to the opening credits. And then you find out that it's actually Robert Culp's partner, and he who comes down, who's dead. He's actually dead, and he's the one who hands Ralph the suit. And it's really weird. It's not like how I remembered it. In the first episode, while we had the opening theme, we didn't actually have it sung by Joey Scarberry, the theme to The Greatest American Hero, which is
Believe It or Not.
But I thought you were going to at least sing. I thought you were going to at least do that.
I was going to do it, but believe it or not, we can't sing that song because of copyright and trademark infringements.
That's right.
If we could, we would do it right now. We don't want to get sued.
Believe it or not, it's true. So
it's true. Mike Post wrote the music for it. He was like one of those he was the John Williams of TV theme songs back in the day. Like every show had a Mike Post theme song, you know. So.
And this one by Joey Scarberry got to number 2 on the Billboard charts. It was a huge.
Everybody knows that song. Everybody.
They do. Well, they used it. Remember in Seinfeld with
Seinfeld, it was George's ringtone or
his answering machine on his answering machine.
Believe it or not, George is not here. He's not. It's a peppy song.
It is.
You just can't help but get like crazy when you hear it, you know?
And the show itself is, quite good, quite fun to still watch. The visual effects, they used a lot of video, the green screen or blue screen back in those days. Not like here where it's
no, it looks like this a little bit, you know.
Well, you know what? That's actually probably a little bit better, but
I know. Well, I would hope it's been 40 years since that show came on. I would hope we have better effects, but
so the show ran for the first season with great success. Second season came along. It ran for a third season where it started to run out of steam, and they were going to do. They felt that it was, I suppose, cancelled a little bit too early, so they came up with sort of a maybe a soft reboot. And it was called The Greatest American Heroine.
Yes.
And
not the drugs.
No.
I always get where you hear that, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, it must be my Aussie accent. That's okay.
No. Here's the thing. Go back real quick. They had produced 4 episodes, but ABC canceled it and didn't even air those 4 episodes. They took the last 4 and they packaged them up like a TV movie type of thing, like we've talked about before,
Yep.
where they would take these 2 1-hour shows and bridge them and make it like a 90-minute movie. So that's how you got to see the last 4. Or if you get DVD collections or
Yes.
Blu-ray or whatever it's on, you can watch them all. Maybe in syndication they put the rest on, but I do
Well, they
know
did.
that
They put that last
yeah.
the Greatest American Heroine, which was the
Yes.
the
soft,
like
the soft reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They added in syndication and they made that as like the official last episode
Yeah.
of the series,
Yeah.
but it actually didn't air until 1986.
No, I
that,
know.
show.
Which is
So
weird. Yeah.
so even though it
And
ran
not
for
only
3
that,
seasons.
it didn't air on ABC.
Ah,
If I remember, it was like a pilot almost for like a new series.
yes.
But I think I might be wrong, but I think it aired on NBC. I think Stephen J. Cannell had such success with the A-Team on NBC. He took it from ABC TV and said, "Hey, if you want, you could have the Greatest American Heroine too." And I think that's what they showed it as a TV movie.
Yep.
Over there on a competing network, but they just didn't. I don't know if the ratings weren't good or what. They didn't take the bait.
Yeah,
It
it didn't fly. So
Uh-huh.
thank you. So so that was it. Look, there was been a lot of talk of a reboot. There was going to be a reboot in 20 I think it was 2018 that they looked at, and they had oh, there you go. They had Hannah Simone from
The
who's
new
that-
girl.
The new girl, yeah.
The new
So
girl,
Hannah
yeah.
Simone was going to be playing the new Greatest American Hero.
I did not. Oh, you know what? I do know that. That was in 2008.
Was it 2008?
Yeah, it
that?
was, because I have a story about that.
Okay.
Would you like to hear it?
Of course I would. No, that's all we got time for. No, of course I would.
Okay, good
Go
night,
for it.
everybody. I'm not going to tell you my story. Well, Ed, as we all know, I am the world's greatest con producer
You
here
are.
in Connecticut at Terrificon.
Yeah.
But my very first 3-day show, I had amongst my guests, who you might ask, who could it be but William Cat and me? That's right. He was my guest at Bridgeport, Connecticut, where I brought 3 days of Comic-Con fun and excitement to Connecticut.
We're gonna have to
And
put
I
a
brought
sponsored by thing up. I think.
Sponsored by
Yeah, that's
Mitch Halleck. And I brought William Cat there, and he discussed how he had started a comic book series or
Mhm.
company, and they had done a comic book
Yep.
adaptation and new adventures of Ralph Hinckley as the Greatest American Hero, amongst other things. He also did his own comic book right there. See that it wasn't
Parks.
based on the great. Yeah. So there is a series he did too. But while we were talking, he's at the time they were going to do it. This was 2014,
Mhm.
the show. And in 2008 is when the stories started surfacing that there was going to be a reboot, and everything takes forever in Hollywood. They start talking about it, and by the time you actually see it, it might be years or whatever.
Yeah.
So when he was at the show, we said, "What's up with that?" They had planned on bringing it back, and like you said, they were going to get a young female lead to be the star of the show, and Ralph Hinckley was going to return, but he was going to be in more of the Robert Culp
Oh,
role,
yes.
or as a mentor to her and tell her how to use the suit and what to do. And he was going to be like the grandfatherly like type dad position, like the old Batman teaching the
Yeah.
new Robin or whatever. So, but whatever, that never came to pass for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't know where it is now, but it was in the works for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's sort of just on the back burner for the moment. I'm sure they'll dig it up eventually and bring it back, because it's quite. It's not like
it's everywhere.
It's not like
Yeah,
superheroes aren't hot at the moment or have been.
No,
So
no. Plus, it's part of a culture. For a show that lasted only 3 years, it's like embedded in
Yeah.
the memories of so many people. Like if you watch The Family Guy, they make a reference to it. The Greatest American Hero, he'll be in the suit, and they play
Yeah.
the theme. We talked
Big
about
Bang
Seinfeld.
Theory. Don't you
Big
often
Bang
see
Theory.
Sheldon
That's right.
wearing,
Sheldon would wear the shirt often. Yeah. So I mean, people, it's still fondly remembered though.
Oh yeah, and it's the song. The song encapsulates it. I think.
Mhm.
It takes you back to 1981. They did bring out some toys, but
They did.
not too many toys. And
Were
Mego,
they
of
Mego
course.
toys?
Yeah, Mego brought out they had a Ralph Hinckley and they had a Bill
Yes.
Maxwell figure, and they
Yep.
were packaged together with a car, like there was like I
Yeah.
think a Volkswagen Beetle, in a little play set, similar to what they did with Chips and a few of the other toy lines. However, this was in the last days of
Mego.
Mego. And what happened is they were going to make the 6-inch series, like the old Fonz over there.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah,
did
yeah,
some
yeah.
they did some prototypes and some samples, but it didn't get to market. A few have come out that were that have been found
Prototype.
by collectors, and they're worth a lot of money. So they actually
Yeah.
had Connie Selica, they had
Celica, yeah.
Robert Culp, and they had William Cat figures, but
Mhm.
they're hard to find. And that's really about it. They did bring out, there's some later on, they brought out, as they do, some sort of like reboot toys or nostalgic.
Well, as we always ask the checklist, was there a board game?
That's a good question, and I didn't see one. So, but
Okay,
if
was
there
there a
is, I'll put it up
lunchbox?
right now.
Was there a lunchbox? I'll tell you what, though. The problem with this show is, and I'm not to be raining on the parade of the greatest American hero, but that goofy flying, like, wait,
Yes.
let's do it right. Let's do it. Ready? That got old fast. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I was like 13 or 14, and the first time you see, and the legs go up, it's funny. But the 50th time, it wears
so
thin.
much.
Plus, they'd even show in the opening credits that I
Yes.
can't fly. I don't know how to use my super suit. We get it. That's the premise. We already know. Stop.
Yeah.
But they kept doing it again and again and again. And the funny thing is, to watch the show, the character of Bill Maxwell and Ralph Hinckley, they become friends over the course of the show, because just like this, the two leads hated each other.
Yeah.
Just like our show. It takes a long time.
This is all good acting, isn't it?
You don't even want to know what goes on behind the scenes. So they grew to like each other, Robert Culp and William Cat.
Oh.
But the other reason why we talked about the show didn't come back is because Mr. William Cat is the son of actress Barbara Hale from the Perry Mason fame, and NBC had rebooted the Perry Mason Adventures with Barbara Hale, and William Cat became a regular on that series of movies or TV movies, and he had other obligations. So when the 3 years was up and the Greatest American Hero wasn't going to come back, he was like, I already got another gig. So he went on to that. And I do know he made a lot of money in the real estate business when I was talking to him back in the day over here in Connecticut.
Yep.
When he was here. And what was the other thing I was going to? Oh, little known fact about Robert Culp, huge comic strip fan of a series called Terry and the Pirates by an artist named Milton Caniff.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
And so much so that Mr. Culp wanted to be a cartoonist if he didn't become an actor. So much so he would actually practice drawing and stuff like that. And just before his untimely death, he was I think he's going to head towards your way, towards like Hong Kong and such, to do a TV live action movie of Terry and the Pirates. But unfortunately, he fell and banged his head and had a contusion and passed away like days afterwards. Just simple little accident like that. He was going out for a walk or a run. And I remember this because he was supposed to be at the New York Comic Con, which is not so much down the street, but about 90 minutes from here.
Yeah.
And about an hour. And he was going to be there that weekend in October, but he just passed away in late September, because I remember they had William Cat there, and it was going to be a reunion of the Greatest American Hero cast. And unfortunately, Mr. Culp couldn't make it because he had passed away.
Yeah.
But I was going to say something else about the other thing that the Greatest American Hero, one of the first that ever did, is Stephen J. Cannell had a famous logo.
Yes.
At the end of a lot of his shows, where it looked like a bunch of paper, like the writer would throw the paper in the air from the typewriter and it would fall
into
and
the sea.
Letters would come up and made it, an SJC. That was the first time you ever saw that on a Stephen J. Cannell production, was on the Greatest American Hero.
That's up there with the Sit Ubu Sit. Good dog.
So it is up there with Sit Ubu Sit. And I have to say this. One of the things too that I had heard is, if it went to other markets back then, the United States, sometimes we get a bad rep around the world. So the title is called The Greatest American Hero, doesn't play all the time in some parts of the world because, hey, they think the Americans and sometimes we're a bit of jerks.
Yep.
So I don't know if they retitled it The Greatest Australian Hero when it played down your end, but
no, it was definitely The Greatest American Hero.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Though he did look a little bit of like an Aussie surfer, with those curls. So
yeah, he
been.
is what he is. But anyway, that's it. I mean, there's not much to say.
No,
all
there
3
isn't.
seasons are on DVD or
Yep.
Blu-ray, and I'm sure they're probably running on like one of these Me TVs or
yes.
Here they have a lot of old retro television channels now, and I'm sure that's popular.
And really, the best merchandise you can get is the t-shirts where you can get pretty much everywhere.
I'm surprised Retro Action hasn't done one. Retro Action,
yeah,
they make these little figures that look like Kenner Star Wars.
That's right.
Reaction. Yeah.
That is odd. So maybe it's in the pipeline.
Maybe it's coming sooner.
Maybe why aren't there a Funko Pop Greatest American Hero?
You think Funko Pop has done everything by now, but then you're like, wait, they didn't do that yet? And
we're still waiting on our Funko Pop. So, you've got one, I think.
I've got one, actually. I have one.
I'm still waiting on mine anyway.
Yeah. That's about it. I don't have anything else to say.
No, that's good. That's it.
I have one story.
Yeah, okay.
I have a story.
Yeah.
A little behind the scenes story.
Yeah.
When we were here and the end of the show was on a Sunday, and Mr. Cat had to get from Bridgeport, Connecticut to JFK Airport, which is about, 90 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about 4:00 and he had an 8:00 flight. And the limo, which I had arranged, hadn't come to pick him up yet. So he was starting to get a little anxious. He wanted to know where his ride was going to be. And I remember him coming back into the building, not too happy with me. And he says, "Okay, Mitch, where am I going to stay tonight?" And I go, "Well, in your bed." No. And he goes, "Well, it's 4 and I'm not going to make it to the airplane," because he thought there was going to be a lot of traffic. I go, no. There'll be plenty of time to get to the airport and check in. You'll be fine. And I remember thinking, well, if worse comes to worse, Mr. Cat, you could always put on the red suit.
That's right.
Fly home. But I didn't say that. But then the next day he wrote me a nice letter apologizing because they got to the airport 2 hours before the flight. Everything was all set. And lo and behold, he was back in Los Angeles and everybody was happy once again in the land of fandom.
That's good.
It. That's my little story. That's my behind the scenes.
I thought you were going to say you personally drove him.
I know. What I did is I put the red suit on, and just like in the opening, I put him on my back, and we flew. We went. Ready? Whoa! We did one of those in William Cat. You know what? You should take a William Cat right now and put him on my back.
I'll see what I can do. There's only so much me and my team at
our budget.
So
that's the greatest. Douglas Trumbull died.
Yes, I know. Yeah. So that's it for The Greatest American Hero. It's still good fun to watch. Check it out. It's available pretty much everywhere and on DVD. You know what's also available? Our show on YouTube. We got over 55 episodes of pop culture goodness, but how can you find out a little bit more about it, Mitch?
Oh, Ed. It is so simple. A child can do it. In fact, even one of those weird monkey-faced aliens from that other planet who wiped away everyone's memory of The Greatest American Hero in the last episode. The only people who remembered it were Ralph and Bill Maxwell. But you know how you could remember things? By simply hitting the subscribe button on the bottom, and you, even if your mind wipes, you'll get a notification like, I don't know why I subscribed to this thing, but it's telling me to go watch their new show.
That's right. And I forgot to say, you know who was wiped as well? His son, he's Ralph Hinckley's son, which he disappeared. He was the one in the opening episode watching Super Friends episode. And that's where Ralph got the idea, going, Batman swinging, Superman flying, Green Lantern.
And he never was mentioned.
Never.
They wrote him out of the show.
He's gone. He's there with Chuck Cunningham.
Chuck Cunningham, this kid, I don't know.
Cousin Oliver.
Some of all those. Spirit Chucker Jones on MASH.
Yes,
he was there one day. The next day he's gone from the show. It's like, wasn't there another doctor here?
That's right. So if next if next week you see Joe Stuber there instead of Mitch Halleck, you know something's gone horribly wrong.
Yeah. Who?
So
Who?
what?
What?
So signing off for this week. This is Ed Dollister.
This is Mitch Halleck.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next episode. Take care, everyone.